Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Smooth Plays podcast. I'm Austin, aka Austin Plays, joined once again by Dean, aka Mr. Smooth. All right, and we got a good one in store for y'all. Week 8 matchups, they're here. Okay, again, we're getting this to y'all kind of late, um, but we're about an hour from kickoff here on Thursday night, and we're gonna just jump right into these Week 8 matchups. So, you ready, Dean?
Let's do it, man.
All right. So Thursday night matchup. 5-1, fresh off their first loss, Minnesota Vikings going into LA to play against the Rams.
Yeah, this one honestly should be fun to watch, especially with Cup and Nakua coming back. I think Nakua might be on a snap count. They're going to see how he does, pregame, see how he feels. But Cup, I think, is full go. Minnesota coming off a loss. They got to go all the way to LA from Minnesota in a short week. They are 5-1 against the spread, and the Rams are actually the worst team in the NFL against the spread at 1-5.
Hmm. So are you
So
telling me you're taking a -3?
no, I don't know where to lean. I want to hear what you say first here.
All right. Well, for me personally, right, I'm looking at this one. I do think that the Rams have an opportunity right here to, get be an underdog, get a win at home. These home dogs, they like to put up a fight. So this is a game, though, I think that Minnesota, right, they're fresh off a loss, their first loss of the year, and it was a game that they easily could have gotten blown out. We talked about it in the last one. They went down early and were resilient, though, able to battle back and make it a close game, end up losing to a game-winning field goal. Um, and I think that this is a Minnesota team that's like, you know what? We lost last week. We got to go out there and have a like established dominant win against a team that we should beat. We know how good we are, and we're gonna go out there and do the dang thing. So I like Minnesota to win this one and cover the spread.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go against my numbers if I had to pick a team because I just think this is a tough spot. Cross country trip on a short week after a tough loss. I do really like this Minnesota team, and I don't think anyone on the Rams team is going to come close to guarding Justin Jefferson. I think he
Hmm.
might have 150 yards tonight. But I don't know, man. Something about that home underdog, the Rams with the cross country trip. I'll take them to cover the spread at +2.5.
All right. So we said we're about an hour away from kickoff, so we'll see what happens. Moving on into our Sunday slate. All right. We don't have any London series games. All right. So no early waking up and games are already on. But we got our early window games. First one on the dock is gonna be the New York Jets and the New England Patriots.
Jets and Pats, fun little AFC East matchup. Pats are at home, they're the home underdogs in this case. Um, after the game last week, I honestly don't have any confidence in the Jets,
Hmm.
but we also saw the Patriots get blown
Yeah.
out in Jacksonville. So, I mean, I would take New York in this game and not overthink it.
Yeah, I think not overthinking it is the move here. I mean, you can't dwell on how bad or, the Jets might have looked last week. I mean, and then just forget about how bad the Patriots looked. And I've been saying the last, 2, 3 weeks that this New York Patriots offensive line is a glaring issue, at least in my eyes, especially with a rookie quarterback. I think that Drake May, with what he's been given, has done an exceptional job through the first 2 weeks as a starter. But this New York Jets team, they have a full week with Devontae Adams. All right, I think that this offense is going to get right and potentially put up some points. And then on the defensive side of the ball, this Jets defense has been very underwhelming for the talent that it has, especially on the front. They are getting Hassan Reddick back. So and Hassan Reddick was quietly, you know, the league leader in sacks, I think, a couple years ago. So I think this is going to be an opportunity for the Jets to get a dominant win and be like, this is the team that we thought we were going to be when we first, like last year, when we first signed Aaron Rodgers. So again, I think 7 points. I like the Jets to cover this one as well and get a big win on the road.
Yeah, let's hope their offense can get the ball moving because if they don't, they ain't covering.
You ain't lying. All right, moving on, Philadelphia Eagles and the Cincinnati Bengals. This one, to me at least, I think this is gonna be a very good game. I mean, I want to hear what you have to say, but that's my thoughts first glance.
Yeah, no, I agree. These are two teams. The Bengals are 3-4, but we know the Bengals are better than that. And the Eagles coming off a, dominant win against their division rival last week. The
Hmm.
Eagles are 4-1 all time in Cincinnati. So they haven't won a game
Yeah.
in Cincinnati ever. Bengals are getting 2.5 points here. I do think that the Bengals defense is very susceptible to this Eagles offense moving the ball, especially with Brown and Smith playing, because with both of them on the outside and
Hmm.
Saquon in the backfield, that offense is dangerous.
Yeah.
But I don't see the Eagles stopping the Bengals at all, to be honest.
Really?
I'm taking Cincinnati.
Wow. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm looking at it right. My thing about the Eagles has always been their ability to stop the pass just hasn't been there. And then last week, I think was the first week that they actually were able to go out there and stop the pass, primarily due to their pass rush. So if the Eagles can go out and stop the pass or get pressure on Joe Burrow, and this will make it hard to make throws, I think that this Eagles team definitely has the offense to get the job done and keep this one close. You mentioned that O for stat against Cincinnati in Cincinnati. I hate to say it, I like my guy Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Those are my LSU guys. But I think Philly gets this one done. Nick Sirianni doesn't have to worry about the Philly faithful giving them crap. So for Nick Sirianni, these away games are probably, a lot easier for him to call.
Honestly, you're probably not wrong about that. But with
Yeah,
that
I'm gonna
being
I'm
said,
gonna take Philly in this one to win this one straight up.
the Eagles are remaining winless in Cincinnati.
All right, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Should be a good game regardless. Moving on, Green Bay Packers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right. Another game where we got a road dog in the Jacksonville Jags.
I mean, rightfully so, though. Or you mean, I think you mean home dog in the Jacksonville
Oh,
Jack.
home dog, my fault. Yeah.
That's all right. I mean, I really think Jacksonville is a solid team, but have you seen their schedule the next 5 weeks?
Oh, I've looked at their schedule.
It's
So,
brutal.
I mean, they look like the Florida Gators right now in terms of how the teams that they got coming up.
Yeah, I think this is another one you don't overthink. Maybe Lawrence and Brian Thomas can get out there, but we know how good this Green Bay defense
Yeah.
is. Um, I think the Packers roll here, honestly.
Yeah, I like the Packers in this one. I agree though with like what your initial statement about the Jags. Like looking at this Jags team, this doesn't look like a team that should be 2-5 and potentially 2-6. But the way that they've played, you just can't take the Jags to cover or win. You can't take them to win this game. Like from what we've seen from Green Bay and what we've seen from Jacksonville, I don't see how you can look at the Jags and be like, this is a team that can beat the Packers. Especially considering how good Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers have looked. So I don't know. I don't know about the points because I do still think that the Jags team, in terms of guys, can compete. Um, so I feel a lot safer just taking the Packers straight up to win. So that's what I'm going to be rocking with in that one. All right. Moving on, we got the Tennessee Titans and the Detroit Lions. Another game where one of these teams, I mean, this is the biggest spread of the year, 12 points favored to Detroit.
Yeah, and there's a very good reason why it is. And honestly, Detroit at home is a buzzsaw,
Hmm.
especially against bad teams. The Lions are top three in the NFL against the run. And if the Titans can't get the run going, that offense ain't moving the ball, especially with Hopkins gone. I think the Lions win this game by potentially 21 plus.
So this is my turn to go out there and say my hottest take of the year, right? And I'm
Huh.
gonna say I hear you, 20 plus points, but that's why I'm gonna go with the Tennessee Titans.
No
I'm
way.
not gonna do that.
Yeah, he
No,
ain't.
I'm not gonna do that. All right. So Yeah, the Lions again, they should absolutely dominate this game top to bottom. I don't think there should ever be a doubt that the Tennessee Titans are going to potentially win this game. If the Detroit Lions lose this game, that might be I mean, that's definitely the biggest loss of the year. I think at the end of the year when you're looking back and you're like, how did they lose to this team? Like Detroit, you just go out there and do your job. Like your job is to go out there and kill the Tennessee Titans. Do it. All right.
What? Why did the Titans fire Mike Vrabel?
You know, you what there that is a good point. This is a playoff team. What, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't understand what goes on in these front offices at times, but at the end of the day, it's a business, right? The NFL is a business, so people make business decisions. No matter how wrong they might be, you live and you'll learn, and hopefully the Tennessee Titans are learning from that. But yeah, Lions, go out there, do your job, beat Tennessee by 30 points. Like, come on. All right, moving on. Atlanta Falcons going into Tampa Bay. All right, this is a Tampa Bay team that now it be before the injury to Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, I would have been all over Tampa Bay to win this one. They're still only 2.5 point dogs here at home, but from what I saw the last couple weeks, teams that have been missing their number one and number two receivers have very much struggled, and I don't see why that the Bucks are immune to that trend. So, for me personally, I think this is a game that Atlanta is kind of gonna just catch the Bucks at the right time where they're injured on the offensive end, and I don't think that Tampa Bay is going to be able to put as many points on the board. If they do, like if Baker is able to throw still for 250 yards like he has been, like I'd be happy, and I think that Baker. I don't know. I'm not gonna get crazy, but Baker would be something special if he can go out there and do that. But I think Atlanta wins this one and they cover the spread easily, beating the Bucks by at least 3 points.
Yeah, this is actually going to be my lock of the week. Like you said, that trend with wide receiver one and two being out. I do think the Bucks, I love Baker. I love actually their run game now with White, Irving, and Sean Tucker in there.
Hmm.
Um, I don't see a world where the Bucks can win this game, man, with their injuries. Because yeah, Baker can still go out there and play great, but let's be honest, the Bucks defense does not look good. I mean, Kirk Cousins had 500 yards and Lamar just had 5 touchdowns on them in prime time. Uh,
Yeah.
I think Atlanta wins this game and that cover as well.
All right. Let's not spend too much time talking down about the Bucks. All right, so we're gonna move on to the Arizona Cardinals and the Miami Dolphins. And the storyline for this one, Miami's actually favored in this one because Tua's back.
Yeah, Tua coming back. We don't know what we'll see out of him. You know, he's had what 3 concussions now since being in the NFL, maybe more. Um, they're getting 3.5 points here. I don't love taking the points with them, especially in his first game back.
Hmm.
I think Arizona's a little sneaky, but I think Arizona having to fly all the way to Miami. Miami gets back on track, and hopefully, maybe Tyreek Hill will score a touchdown because he only has one this year, and it was in week one with Tua.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying, and I do think that if Miami was going to get back on track, they need to do so sooner rather than later. Sitting at 2-4, if they fall at 2-5, I mean that's a steep hill to climb back from, and we'll see what happens. But I actually think that I like my dog of the week in this spot. I think my dog of the week is gonna be Arizona to go into Miami and get a win on the road to his first game back in action after another concussion. And this is a Miami team that has been struggling all year without Tua, and I don't think that you're just gonna magically click all of a sudden just because Tua's back. I think they're still going to have some rust and, shaking off some old habits. I think this is going to be Arizona, a good spot for them to get a road dog win. And that's why I'm picking them as my dog of the week.
Hey, I respect the pick, but respectfully disagree.
We'll see. All right. At the end of the day, these are all predictions. All right. Again, clearly we don't know
Sure.
for certain that this is all going to happen. All right. This is educated guessing. Moving on. Division matchup here. The Baltimore Ravens going into Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland getting 8.5, man. That's crazy. Jameis starting this week. Baltimore has just flexed their muscles throughout the last 5 weeks, looking like the last 5 weeks probably the best team in the NFL over that span. Um, I'm not gonna say something crazy here and take Cleveland, so don't worry about it. But if there are two teams that the Cleveland Browns will get up for, no matter how bad their record are, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
And this was in Cleveland. I think the QB change is actually going to help the offense. I know they don't have Coop, but I
Hmm.
could see Dave Njoku, having a big game. I like Cleveland that 8.5 in a divisional game is a lot. I think
Yeah.
they cover the spread.
Yeah, I don't totally disagree. I think that this is a sneaky spot for Cleveland to be competitive. I'm not, like you said, I'm not going to go out there. I'm not going to pick them to win because they haven't shown any reason to why I believe they should win. And the Ravens have just looked so good um, since that loss to the Raiders. Excuse me. But yeah, this Baltimore Ravens team is rolling, and it's a train that doesn't look like they're getting ready to stop anytime soon. We're starting to see the best of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in the backfield together, and I think they might have finally clicked and they might have figured it out. And if that's the case, the rest of the NFL needs to look out. Um, but like you said, divisional matchup. I like Cleveland. Again, this is a Cleveland defense that has been top of the league the last few years. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go out there, right? This is a divisional rival. They always play like the AFC North, they just always play competitive games against each other. So again, I don't hate the take of them getting 8.5 points. I think that they could cover that, especially if their defense decides to show up and Jameis, who knows what Jameis could do. Um, so we'll see. But for the sake of the pod, I'm taking the Ravens to win this one. Moving on to another one, we got the Colts going into Houston.
Uh, Colts going into Houston. AR has had one, decent game this year, and it was against this Texans team week one, where Houston actually ended up winning a close one in Indy. But Houston coming off a loss, they're not going to go back home against a divisional rival and not play well. I think Houston wins this game and they cover.
Yeah, I like Houston to win this one and to cover. Again, I know we were talking about it. We were both on the same page as far as this Colts offense with Anthony Richardson. He just does not look like he's going to be the guy to go out there and get the job done. I mean, again, I think that the Colts offense, at least as a whole, just looks a lot more functional and a lot better when Joe Flacco is leading the team, which is crazy to say because the guy's 39 years old and he's still out there balling and performing. Um, but yeah, I think Houston right now, I think Houston is coming off like you say, coming off a loss. This is going to be their get right game. All right. They're 5-point favorites here. I think they cover that one. I think they can win this one by a touchdown. And I like Houston to win this one. And Houston is going to be I'm going to say Houston is my lock of the week to go out there and get a win here. Moving on. All right. To our late window games, we got the New Orleans Saints and the LA Chargers.
Yeah, after watching the Saints last week, I'm gonna be honest with you, I want no part in taking them to win. Um, Chargers pulled a Chargers last week and lost the game they should have won, but Saints flying all the way to LA. I'm all over the Chargers in this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Chargers are 7-point favorites in this one, and rightfully so based on what we've seen from the Saints so far. I know there's a lot of question marks on this injury list. really for both sides, but primarily for the Saints. I mean, Derek Carr is now listed as questionable. I mean, after what we saw the last couple of weeks, I don't know if I've seen enough from Spencer Rattler to say that he can go out there and get the job done. Like we talked about Shaheed being out for the year, and then Olave is questionable as well. There's just a lot of question marks, and honestly, if there was anything that I think that merits the Chargers to win this one, it's going to be Jim Harbaugh. I don't know what it is. I think Jim Harbaugh, for whatever reason, no matter where he's at, he just finds ways to win games. And so I like the Chargers to win this one. But I wouldn't be surprised if, the Saints can go out there and they can compete in this one, make it close and cover the 7-point spread because I think at some point the Saints defense is good enough to where this defense is going to be able to figure it out and put some stops together. So who knows? We'll see what happens, but I'm going to be taking with the Chargers in this one. Moving on, stay in our late window is on Sunday. Bills at Seahawks.
Let's see. I want to hear what you say about this one.
All right. Well, so this year, do you know who the leading passer in the NFL is?
I do not. Geno Smith?
It's Geno Smith, right? I don't know. I wouldn't have guessed that Geno would be leading the league in passing this year. You know, it's crazy the turnaround that this guy's had. How he came into the league, he was basically written off, and then he had a resurgence. He finally got a starting gig in Seattle, and he's just ran with it with this kind of like second shot at being a starter. He's looked good, and Seattle has the weapons because between DK, Tyler Lockett, and JSN, who JSN, I love JSN. I think he's be quickly becoming the top target in Seattle and Geno's go-to guy. I think DK is more so just an explosive deep ball threat at this point. But Tyler Lockett and JSN are really getting a brunt of those, underneath routes and medium routes. So I like Seattle, but I just don't know about that defense. That run defense is still one of the worst in the league. And Buffalo, they got Cook who can cook, and they got a quarterback in Josh Allen that can also, hurt you with his legs. And not to mention this, now they got Amari Cooper, who is going to get a lot more looks, and they still got, Coleman and Kincaid. Like, I think this Bills team is just built to win right now, and I think they're just too good, at least on paper. So I like the Bills in this one to win.
I'm really tempted to go Seattle because everything you said. I do like the matchup for Seattle with Woolen on Cooper. I think that's a good matchup for them. But again, I don't see how they can stop the run. But I also don't see how the Bills can stop this Seattle offense, like you said. I actually think this game's going to be really enjoyable to watch. It's going to be a lot of offense, I think. In Seattle, 3 points.
Seattle is hard to play in. I've
I'll,
I've been to a Seattle game. It gets loud.
I will take it. I'll take Seattle +3.
So we're on opposite ends there. All right. No hard feelings. But we're gonna move on into Chicago Bears. All right. Chicago Bears and the Washington Commanders. And Chicago is favored by 3 in this one. I actually didn't see Jaden Daniels is listed as questionable. I expect him to play, but I don't know if there's a question as to like, is there a doubt that he's going to play? I haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen any reports that it's saying he's not going to play, but I think they're leaning towards Mariota starting.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, I think if they're leaning towards Mariota, I think that Chicago will probably end up winning this one. But honestly, I don't. I think honestly, even with Jaden Daniels starting, I know this Washington team got off to a really hot start, um, and Jaden Daniels has been incredible. But again, this is like two opposites in my opinion. You got rookie and rookie Okay. One team got off to a really hot start and hasn't looked back since. All right. And then they've looked a little suspect at times, the past few weeks. And then on the other side, you got the Chicago Bears, who out of the gate looked rough. But they're coming off a bye. And quite frankly, the few weeks leading into that bye week, they looked like, the Chicago Bears team that we thought we would see with all the talent that they have. So I like the Bears to win this one against Washington on the road.
If I had to pick a team to win, I would I would lean Bears, but to be honest with you, my favorite play in this game would be the under. I think Caleb Williams had his two big games against Carolina at home and then in London against Jacksonville. And
Mm-hmm.
what we saw, because Carolina, the Panthers offense has been able to move it pretty well. And last week, they could not move it at all against Washington.
Yeah.
So, and the Bears defense is pretty solid, especially if
Mm.
Mariota's going to be playing. I guess I'll lean the Bears, but I don't love it, to be
Yeah.
honest. With
Yeah. So potentially a nasty one there in Washington. But we're gonna move into the Mile High City, Carolina Panthers. Okay. Going into Denver. 10-point dogs. I mean, let's see. Are we gonna see another crazy take from Dean this week?
After having faith in the Panthers last week and watching them lose by 30, no, that will not happen again. Uh, I just think Denver's perfectly built to stop. I mean, playing at Denver is hard enough, and playing at Denver when you're the Panthers is going to be almost impossible. I like Denver in this game. I don't see how Carolina wins.
Yeah, I don't see how Carolina wins this one. Denver should win this one. 10 points is a lot though, quite frankly, for a Denver team that really hasn't blown anybody out. So,
Yeah.
I
So
mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see if Bo Nix can go out there and have a legacy game and, put up a lot of points because this Denver defense they're gonna get all over Carolina's offense. And, I don't know if Carolina puts up double digits.
yeah, hey, don't forget this is a Super Bowl 50 rematch.
Oh yeah. Crazy throwback, but definitely two teams that are on completely different tracks right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Denver should win this one pretty handily. Moving on, last game of our late window on Sunday is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs going into Vegas.
Whew, this one, the Chiefs are getting 9.5 points. I will say the Chiefs' last loss. I don't know if you knew this. I think I saw they've won 6 games this year. They
Hmm.
had the playoff run last year, so that was four, and then so they've won 12 in a row. Their last loss was against the Las Vegas Raiders. With that being said, the Raiders are a lot worse than they were last year,
Mm.
and I think the Chiefs roll with D Hop first week. Let's see D Hop get in that end zone. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, look, we saw Amari Cooper get into the end zone last week, right? D Hop, I think that this is a good spot for him to go out there and get acclimated in the offense, get on the right page with Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, I mean 9.5 point favorites here, and a game that Kansas City should not lose. They haven't shown that they look to slow down anytime soon. Um, but like you said, I mean this Raiders team, they're just not the same team, and they've been slow and just not looked good all year.
Yeah, I mean, I got.
But
Oh no.
but this is a divisional game in Las Vegas in the Death Star. All right. I like the Vegas Raiders to go out there and get the upset of the week. I think the Vegas Raiders can go out and make this one competitive and hand Kansas City their first loss. Eventually, an undefeated team has to lose. And why not on the road against a divisional rival? I think the Raiders can really upset the Kansas City Chiefs here, and I like the Raiders to win it. Straight up, no spread. Give me the Vegas Raiders.
Honestly, I don't hate it. Like I said, that was the last team that beat them. And don't forget the Chiefs. while they are 6-0, they're not a dominant 6-0. Like Mahomes isn't out going third and five touchdowns
This is the
again.
worst we've seen Patrick Mahomes in his entire career. I don't I'm not gonna say I don't believe in the Chiefs, but I don't believe in them this week. And I think that this is a game where they can go in, they get lazy, right? Hey, the game plan, right? Let's get D Hop looks. This is a new guy on our offense. Let's get him comfortable, right? And they're gonna slip a little bit. I think they're gonna make some mistakes, and those mistakes, the Raiders are gonna be able to if they can capitalize on those mistakes, the Raiders can win this game. And so I like the Raiders to win it.
Hey, I love the take from you there. And like I said, I don't hate it. It's nasty, it's gross, but the only reason I'm going to take the Chiefs is because I just don't see, while yes, Mahomes isn't playing great so far. One, he's still Mahomes. Two, the Chiefs defense is legit. And the Raiders don't really have anyone other than Brock Bowers to throw the ball to.
Yeah. Hey, we'll see what happens. We'll see. Anything can happen. All right. Moving on. Dallas Cowboys and the Niners. All right. Let me hear what you have to say about this one. Sunday night matchup.
I might have an interesting perspective here. Niners, the thing I'm looking at has Niners -4. Is that what yours is as well?
Mine is 4.5.
Oh, wow. So it's moving up a little bit. So 4.5 for San Francisco. This is actually going to be my dog of the week.
Mm.
I think the Cowboys win this game because of the Niners injuries, to be honest
Hmm.
with you. I think not I think I'm pretty sure Debo is coming back this week, and obviously Kittle will be playing. I don't know Juwan Jennings'
Yeah.
status. We know Ayuk's out. Their defense is injured too. I know the Cowboys haven't looked, good at all, but they're coming off a bye. They won on Sunday night in Pittsburgh. Who's to say they can't win on Sunday night again in San Francisco?
Yeah. Yeah. I do like Dallas as well in this one. I agree. I think the injuries are gonna hurt San Fran a lot more, obviously, than what they might be letting on. Um, Yeah, I like Dallas in this one, especially plus the points here, plus 4.5. I think Dallas can easily cover this one. I think this one might, potentially come down to like a field goal to win the game or something. But yeah, on paper, this is not the same Niners team that we've seen the last couple of years. And so you mentioned Dallas hasn't looked great to start the year, but this is still a Dallas Cowboys team that has a lot of expectation, and they expect to be a playoff team. And if they're going to be a playoff team, they need to go out there and they need to win these games against teams, especially when they're battered and bruised. So I like the Dallas Cowboys to cover the spread here at 4.5.
Hey, I like it too. I got Dallas winning up or straight. I got Dallas winning outright.
All right, moving on. Okay, your Pittsburgh Steelers Monday night. All right, I'm not even gonna. No, I'm not even gonna say that. But your team on Monday night. Okay, I'm gonna give you my take and then I'll let you give yours. But yeah, 6-point favorites at home. Prime time. How many primetime games have they played in Pittsburgh this year?
I mean, who doesn't want to watch them, man?
I
Keep
mean,
them
you're
on at
not
prime
you're not
time.
wrong, but
Who be
like
the third?
I feel like the last 3 weeks we've had a primetime matchup in Pittsburgh.
Well, you
So
had, I think Dallas was 4 weeks ago. So yeah, three of the last four.
yeah, that's crazy to me. But yeah, I mean, if this Steelers team can pick up where they left off with Russell Wilson and Russell Wilson can play anything like what he did, I mean, they're gonna go out there and they're gonna smoke New York. So, um, the big thing that the Giants need to improve on is gonna be protecting Danny Dimes, which that's not gonna happen against the Steelers defense. They're gonna get out and they might have 10 sacks as a team.
Yeah, I will say, being a Steeler fan, the Steelers succeed their best whenever they are the underdogs and people are counting them out. So I actually don't like taking them to cover the spread. I do think they'll win the game, but every time a team walks into Pittsburgh and they're, expected to win or expected to, trounce them, they don't. But with that being said, the second half last week against the Jets, they looked, like contenders in that second half. And like you said, there's no way if the Eagles can have 8 sacks against the Giants, the Steelers can have double digits.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the Steelers. I'm not worried about it. They've convinced me that they're for real.
Yeah, hey, this was a Steelers team that, before the year started, he was like, this is a Steelers team that they're not content. They're not gonna win the Super Bowl. Look at you doubting your guys, and then
Hey,
they're going out there week in, week out and competing, man.
hey, no one expected them to, but I will say I almost took them to win the division early on in the year because people 8.5 wins for the Steelers line, you know they're gonna
Oh,
go.
they're chomping at the bit. They're loving what they're seeing.
But I will say one last thing about the Steelers. I want to see what they do second half because their schedule gets a lot harder.
All right. Yeah, we'll see. Focusing on week 8 though right now, obviously go out there, do your job, win week 8. All right. Worry about those future games when they come.
Yeah.
But that wraps up this week 8 predictions. So, you got anything else that you want to add? Any final thoughts, final notes?
Um, maybe we should see. Let's pick one anytime TD score, both of us. Let's see.
Oh, one. Well, all right. If we're picking an anytime touchdown score, I know you said D Hop was a good candidate, but I mean, I gotta go to Saquon and Philly, man, because I mean, I realize like he's just looked so dominant and against a Cincinnati team that doesn't really isn't known for their defense. I mean, give me Saquon anytime touchdown, man. I think he could. I think he has. I think honestly, I think he has two.
Okay. I like that take. I'm actually going to go down to Miami, and I think after Herbert just had 350 against them, Tyreek Hill scoring this week. His QB's back. You saw how happy he was whenever they asked him about it. He was smiling ear to ear.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Tyreek Hill's my pick. So pair them together. Tyreek, Barkley. That's a lock.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else to add on. So we're gonna get out of here. Okay. We kick off in what 20 minutes on Thursday night.
Cool.
So looking forward to it and appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure y'all leave a like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend. All right, and we'll see you on the next one.